Welcome to the program Talk Sport on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. Last night we saw Premier League coming back and international break is done and dusted, and we saw lots of goals being scored in the EPL, and also we saw a change in the EPL standings. And aside that, we've seen Gernot Rohr, the former Super Eagles coach, who was currently the head coach of Benin Republic, who has resigned from being the head coach of Benin Republic based on the outcome of the World Cup qualifiers. The FA game, Benin had to, they had conversation, and at the end of the day, the conversation didn't go so well. And then Gernot Rohr had to resign. We'll be having that conversation, and also we'll also talk about the funny man, the special one, who pinched the coach of Galatasaray after suffering a 2-1 defeat in Turkish derby. We'll be having all of those conversations and more on today's edition of Talk Sports. We'll be talking also about Biran Nations Cup, which is ongoing in Jos, and then the semi-finals of that said competition will be starting today. The first leg will be starting at 3 p.m. and then tomorrow, the 4th of April, we'll have the second leg, and then on the 21st of this same month, we'll be having the finals, which will be played in Jos. All of this is to facilitate the growth and development of grassroots football, as the chairman of the commission, that Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, has propelled for a lot of individuals and coaches and private individuals to get into sporting activities and develop sports in the grassroots. So we'll be starting from the home front as always, where Super Falcons miss another window as WAFCON draws closer. Nigerian Super Falcons are missing the chance to regroup just 4 months before the 2024 Women African Cup of All Nations tournament, as the second international break for women's football in 2025 started on March the 31st and runs through Tuesday, April the 3rd. The last time the 11-time African champions were kept busy during the international break was in November 2024, when they lost 2-1 to France in a highly profile friendly. Before then, they hosted Algeria in a 2-leg friendly game played in Lagos and Ikenne in October 2024. Since then, the draw for the postponed 2024 AFCON has been conducted. The Falcons will play Tunisia, Algeria, Botswana in Group B of the tournament, which will be played from July the 5th to 26th in Morocco. On that note, the NFF President Ibrahim Gasso, in the ending of the year review, had promised adequate preparation for teams as they hope to reclaim the African title, which they last won in the year 2018. Now, this is a concern. Over 2 weeks of break has been given to international women playing international sports, football to be precise, and then we're seeing Laxity playing around the Super Falcons, where preparation is not being done in line of their preparation, and then African Cup of Nations. The 11-time champions have not even gotten close to the semi-finals in over 5 years, and now this is worrisome for fans in Nigeria and also worrisome for the players. Now the NFF needs to put things in order, adequate preparation to help these ladies get themselves ready for all of this competition that will be kick-starting really, really soon. In the next couple of months now, we'll be seeing the qualifiers which will be starting, and then we need to have adequate preparation. We have this time to at least start up something, but now nothing is actually happening. These ladies are somewhere in beaches having a time of their life. We are not saying they shouldn't relax, but still they should have time to relax and also time to prepare for the next job at hand. Like Kobe Bryant will always say, the job is now done yet. So moving away from that, former Super Eagles head coach quits his job with World Cup group rivals. Former coach of the senior national teams of Nigeria, Gernot Rohr, has stepped down from his role as coach of Benin Republic, according to reports in the country. Rohr successfully qualified the team to the African Cup of Nations, but saw his team suffer a setback in the World Cup qualifiers when they threw away a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 against Zimbabwe, and also lost a 0-2 to South Africa. The disappointing result made the FA, led by Martins de home to support summon an emergency meeting where they expressed their displeasure with the poor results of the team. With the president addressing the press after meeting, recent report says Raw decided to hand his resignation, and the FA has his assistant Moasa Latojin lined up for as his replacement, with talks said to be in progressing nicely. A statement from the FA expected on the future of the German, who has been in charge of the team for also 2 years after his sacking as coach of the senior national team of Nigeria in 2021. So this is just the result you get when talks are being done, and then, you know, advancement and all of those things are not being met. That means his job was to qualify the contract that was signed, and then the agreement that Ghana had with the FA in Benin was for him to get to African Cup of All Nations and also qualify them to the World Cup. Now, that is hanging in the balance. The World Cup is hanging in the balance, where they had a 2-0 early head starts, scoring Zimbabwe 2 goals, and then throwing that away in the second half. Then going to play South Africa and losing 2 goals to nil to South Africa. All of those brought down the hope, and then had shakings for his job as the head coach of Benin Republic. So all of that now has attributed to the fact that he wasn't able to deliver the goods in terms of making sure that his own end of the bargain was held, and he advanced to the final, to the qualifiers of African Cup of All Nations and World Cup. So African Cup of All Nations, he had that job done and settled, but the bigger one, which is to go represent at the biggest stage, which is the World Cup, he wasn't able to, speaking about Ghana Raw, he wasn't able to see all of that to its completion. So the FA had concerns about that, and they'll be giving his assistants a chance to see if he would be able to get Benin Republic to World Cup, they are currently in the African Cup of All Nations, so we'll see how far they would go in the African Cup of All Nations, and then get themselves ready for the next qualifiers that will be coming. That would be for 2029. Yes, that will be for 2029 if that does happen. So we'll see how all of this will pan out as, you know, results and also talks unfold. So moving on, Kenya announces a strange drug test for Tokyo's World Championship. Kenyan athletes are to be drug tested 3 times to qualify for selection to this summer's World Championship in Tokyo, as the country struggles to shake off doping scandals. Athletics Kenya Chief Jackson Tyron says a pool of 444 contenders for the championship have been identified for testing program, which will be coordinated by the Federation in conjunction with Kenya and World Athletes Anti-Doping Agency. Tyron says the country was maintaining the stringent doping measures introduced before the Paris Olympics in a bid to keep the athletes clean for the event that runs from September 13th to 21st, 2025. Kenyans has invested massively to clean up its image after a string of drug scandals around the 2016 Rio Olympics led to it being declared non-compliant by the World Anti-Doping Agency. Nearly 130 athletes, Kenyan athletes, mainly long-distance runners, have been sanctioned for drug offenses since the year 2017. In March, former half-marathon world record holder Kimberworth Candy was suspended by the AIU while under investigation for invading and refusing or failing to submit a sample of his collection, a sample of, urine for test. Kenyan remains in top category of the WADA watch list, despite the government announcing an investment of $25 million over 5 years to combat the problem of drug abuses. So we'll be having all of these conversations and more just immediately after this break. Please do stay with us. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. This is still Talk Sport, and I am Samuel Odi. If you're just joining, you've not missed so much of the conversation. You've just missed the first quarter, so now you're going to the second quarter, then all through to the second half. So we're taking it from different sporting angles. Yes. So looking at Kenyans now, they've actually have issues long before now on anti-doping tests, and the FA and then the bodies in charge of sports in Kenya are trying to make sure that they don't have this incident again, based on the fact that championship in Tokyo will be kickstarting in the month of September. Now preparations are being done. I hope Nigerian NFF are looking at it, and also every other sporting federation association here in Nigeria is taking cue from Kenya to get themselves prepared ahead of the championship that will be happening in Tokyo. So looking at all of this, the Kenyans are trying to get their house in order so they wouldn't have issues like they did have of having 130 athletes being sanctioned based on anti-doping offenses. So moving away from that, Moses Simon, our Nigerian, battles Hakimi for Mark Vivian Foy's Award. Nigerian Moses Simon has been nominated for the 2025 Mark Vivian Foy Award, which recognizes the best African player in French League One. The FC Nathan Wenger, who has been in superb form this season, is aiming to become the third Nigerian to win the prestigious honor, following Vincent Inyema, who won in 2014, and Victor Osimhen, who won in 2020. Simon has been a key figure for Nathans, recording 7 goals and 8 assists in 25 league appearances. His direct involvement is in nearly half of the team's goal, highlights his crucial role even as the club endures a challenging campaign. This marks Simon's 4th nomination for the award after previously shortlisting in the year 2020, 2022 and 2024. He is among 12 contenders, including Morocco's Al Hakimi, who plays for PSG, and Ivorian Ivory Coast Evan Ganson, who plays for Nice, named in the honor of the late Cameroonian footballer Mark Vivian Foy. The award is presented annually by RFI and France 24, a jury of nearly 100 journalists who are specialized in French and African football, will determine the winner based on performance throughout the season. So looking at Victor now, looking at his statistics, 27 goals, 29 assists in 100 appearances for his club side. This has shown how amazing and how superb he is, and also we saw how crucial he was during the Rwanda game against the qualifiers between Super Eagles and Rwanda. Though we came out with the best laugh, and then we didn't smile as we played Zimbabwe in the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. So looking at Moses Simon now, currently is on a very, very good form, and he has been performing so well, not just for me, his club side, but also for the Super Eagles. So we'll be rooting, and again, votes incoming, and Nigerians, please go ahead and vote for your own person, so as he would also emerge as victorious. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about transfers, where Osimhen rejects Juve's offer and plans for an EPL switch. Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen has reportedly informed Juventus directors that he aims to play in the Premier League next season, making him unwilling to join the Italian giant. Juve FC reports that Juventus were handed a transfer blow during the last meeting with Osimhen's camp, as the Galatasaray loanee is focused on securing a move to England rather than the old terrain of Italy. According to sources close to Juve FC, the report says that there are visions and ambitions hoping to convince Nigerian international to make a switch to Turin. However, Osimhen reportedly responded with gratitude, politely acknowledging Juventus' interest while making it clear that his priority is to secure a move to one of Europe's top clubs. During the meeting, Juventus official reportedly made the final effort to persuade the 26-year-old by providing a detailed explanation of the club's long-term plans, outlining their their strategy for competing at the highest level and their ambition to reclaim dominance in both Serie A and European competitions. Despite their efforts, Osimhen appeared determined to move to a more competitive and global recognized league, which Manchester United, Arsenal and Chelsea are among his preferred destination. Additionally, he is reportedly open to playing for Paris Saint-Germain or Bayern Munich, as these clubs are not only dominant in their respective domestic leagues but also have strong ambitions in the UEFA Champions League. So looking at all of this now, at the end of the day, Victor Osimhen would want to go to a club where he would play in the Champions League and also dominate as well in the local league, just like what's happening currently in Bayern, in Galatasaray, looking at how he's amazing at scoring goals, putting players and goalkeepers to their knees, and also making sure that coaches now pinch other coaches right on their face based on the result and outcome of the game. So looking at Victor Osimhen's points now, definitely he is looking to probably go to Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich. So these are the teams that he is open to, even PSG, based on the fact that these teams will be aside Manchester United, and Chelsea is still hanging in the balance to see if they will qualify for the Champions League come 2025-2026 season, because currently, after the games from last night, there was a switch in the table where Chelsea has gone from number 4 position to the number 6th position. We would have that conversation as the show unfolds. But looking at Victor Osimhen now, his point is, he made his points. He drew the old terrains of Italy, talking about Juventus now, are very, very efficient. They are doing so well in Italy as it stands now, but they are not contenders of the Italian Serie A, and also they are also not contenders when it comes to the Champions League. So these are the options and these are the things he has to look at first before he would now decide on which club he would go to, and also star power, players power, and then how he would be able to fit in. And also another thing that contributes to this is now the style of play. The style of play, I don't think Victor Osimhen's style of play would be able to suit that of Juventus based on how he plays. Juventus built from the back, and then they don't do all of those low passes currently from their current style of play. But now, when Cristiano Ronaldo was in Juventus, we saw, sometimes building from behind, and also those overhead passes that Cristiano Ronaldo had to fight and win and also score. So we don't see all of that coming up from Juventus now, and that's the style of play that Victor Osimhen does have. So we'll see how all of this will pan out and where he would finally go to when the summer comes. Moving on, that's still talking transfer. Hansi Flick wants Lookman ahead of Diaz. Report says Barcelona head coach Hansi Flick has picked Super Eagles star Ademola Lookman over Liverpool's Luis Diaz as his primary transfer target for the Catalan club attacking reinforcement. Nigerian forward has been in outstanding form for Atlanta, contributing significantly to the Italian club's success this season with impressive performances that have captured the attention of Europe's elite clubs. Although Lookman was linked with a move last summer, particularly to Paris Saint-Germain, a deal never materialized. Now the 27-year-old's remarkable display have made him a highly sought after talent, with Barcelona and Arsenal showing key interest. Despite Barcelona's well-documented financial struggles, Flick is pushing for Lookman's acquisition through signing him, and could prove challenge as Atlanta values their prize assets at around 60 to 70 million pounds. The Spanish giants are reportedly looking to structure a deal with spread payment, but Atlanta may be reluctant to agree to such terms. Nevertheless, Flick prefers Lookman's style for Barcelona's attacking system and hopes an agreement can be reached. So looking at these two giants, Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman, these are the two major guys of the Super Eagles now, who are performing well for the Super Eagles and also performing well for their club sides, that have automatically attributed to the fact that and has drawn interest to big clubs like Barcelona, Arsenal, Chelsea, and other top flight clubs in Europe to want to have these guys come play in their team. So the work that they are putting in, and then their work ethics, and not just work ethics, scoring goals and showing results, are the major concerns, are the major reasons why most of these big teams are looking to, have them as part of their team players. So looking at Ademola Lookman's style of play now is obviously, currently Barcelona built from the wing, and then Ademola Lookman is one of those attackers that can be able to create space and then create assists for his teammate and also create room for himself to be able to score goals, and that's the verge he has above Luis Diaz, who is currently playing for Liverpool. And Flick, Hansi Flick, who is the head coach of Barcelona, feels that Ademola Lookman is going to fit in more with his plan for the club and also the style of play that Barcelona currently have. So looking at all of this fit now, come the end of the summer, in the next couple of weeks, we will know where Victor Osimhen would find himself and where Ademola Lookman would be at when the transfer windows are fully open. So moving on, Messi and Miami Heat stunned by LAFC in the CONCACAF Championship Cup. The Los Angeles FC sent Lionel Messi and Inter Miami spinning to their first defeat of the season last night, scoring 1-0 in their CONCACAF Championships Cup quarterfinal first leg clash. A 57-minute strike from Los Angeles-born El Salvador international Nathan Odiaz handed LAFC a precious advantage heading into next week's return leg in Florida. Unbeaten in 9 games across all competitions since the start of the season, Messi and Miami arrived in Los Angeles as the form team for the Major Soccer League, but after a angry first half that saw neither side manage to get on top, Los Angeles raised their intensity and began causing problems for the visitors, which gave them a goal. LAFC fullback Ryan Holding squandered a golden chance in the 54th minute, blustering well wide after busting into the penalty area on the overlap. So we've seen, not just Harry Maguire now, not just Harry Maguire misses chances to score, but also we've seen other left backs and defenders who would overlap, come to the 18-yard box and then find it superb and very hard to find the back of the net. Mostly that's the job of strikers, but still you can't be playing football and not be able to know how to place a shot at a given point in time, when it's actually very crucial for your team to get an additional goal and give you an edge above other players. So now next week, Tuesday, we'll be witnessing Inter Miami facing Los Angeles FC in the second leg, and we'll see if Inter Miami would be able to bounce back and win the match, or an advance to the finals, or LAFC would be able to have a home and away victory that would give them an edge over Inter Miami and then advance to the next phase of the competition. Moving away from that, Osimhen's brace knocked Mourinho's Fenerbahce out of Turkish Cup. Victor Osimhen delivered a stunning performance on Wednesday as he secured Galatasaray's 2-1 victory over Fenerbahce in the final stage of the Turkish Cup, eliminating Jose Mourinho's side from the competition. Osimhen opened the scoring in the 10th minute, putting Galatasaray ahead with a well-taken shot from the edge of the box. The Nigerian striker then doubled his tally in the 27th minute from the penalty spot, giving his team a comfortable 2-0 lead before halftime. Fenerbahce managed to pull one back just before the break, with Sebastian finding the net in the first half of stoppage time, but it was not just enough to turn the tide, despite late attempts to equalize, including substitution involving Matt Yandas and Karim Darby in the 92nd minute. Mourinho's side fell short as Galatasaray held on for the win. So still on that, Mourinho, still talking about the loss that Fenerbahce faced. Mourinho grabs Galatasaray's coach's face after losing Istanbul's derby. Jose Mourinho remarkably pinched the nose of Galatasaray boss Okan Buruk as Fenerbahce were beaten in a very Istanbul derby. Mourinho's side suffered a disappointing 2-1 defeat in the clash, which came in the quarterfinal of Turkish Cup. However, the game was marred by a chaotic ending triggered by Merino that saw three players, Fenerbahce's Matt Yanders and Galatasaray's Karim and Brace, sent off as the game reached its conclusion. Merino clashed with Brooks as he made his way onto the pitch. The Portuguese coach was clearly unhappy with something that was being pinched on the counterpart's nose. Brooks fell on the floor after the incident as players from both sides rushed in with Galatasaray boss left clinching his nose and face. We know how Jose Mourinho is, and he's always the man that will always have something to say and wouldn't take losses easily as a winner that he is. But being knocked out by someone that he says is his favorite, talking about Victor Osimhen, I think he should take that in good faith and, you know, get his house together and prepare to see if so they can make it back by next season and see if they'll have a better laugh against Galatasaray and against Victor Osimhen if he does still remain in Galatasaray as the time. So we'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, I'll be having my guest who is the founder of Biro Nations Cup, who will help us understand how far the competition is going and what we expect to see for the semi-finals and the finals. To stay with us, we'll be right back.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Yes, many thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining now, we are about to go into the second half of the conversation, and I'm having a guest who is joining me all the way from Jos, person of Mr. Geoffrey Buxton, the founder of Biro Nations Cup. Good morning, Mr. Jones, Mr. Geoffrey.
Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining on today's edition of Talk Sports. Now, bring us up to speed with what has been going on the qualifying stages, and also finally today the semi-finals will be kick-starting by 3 p.m. and also we are expected to see this other second leg of the semi-final being played tomorrow. So, how has the journey been so far?
Well, thank you again for this time. The journey has been so good. You can remember way back from 1st of March where we started. We started with teams from 14 districts. 14 districts of Biromnan. Both teams from various villages have competed thoroughly. At the end of the competition of the first phase, which is the preliminaries, we had 8 teams qualified to the second round. We played the quarterfinals with the 8 teams, and then 4 teams emerged to the semi-finals, which will be starting today. And the 4 teams are Kuru District team, Du District, Gel District, and Zang District. So these 4 teams really deserve it because they went through all the stages and played competitively home and away, traveling from one village to another across the 4 local governments. And here they are, they've qualified to play in the semi-finals. So today, Kuru will be playing against Kiel by 3 p.m. at the Bukuru Mini Stadium, where fans will be coming from so many villages across the 14 districts and cheering their loved team. We will see who will win among them. The winner will go straight to the finals, while the losers will go to the third place. So it's going to be an interesting time today.
But there is no time that is not like interesting and when it has to deal with sport and all of that. So we want to say a job well done to you and the whole organizers of this event. So how what are the talents like when it comes to the current stage of the competition and the way it's going? What are the talents like? Because we've seen the chairman of the sport commission made facts and mention of developing sport, grassroots sporting events. So what can you say the future of the Super Eagles on the 19, on the 20? What does the future stands when with all of these players that we have coming out from Jaws?
Okay, so the talent has been great. I must say that we have seen outstanding talents that I would like to call raw, and they are boys that have been playing in the deep interior villages that hardly even come into Jos City. But you see them playing good basketball, good football. So you wonder what brings about this. Possibly the media. They are watching from viewing centers modern football, and they are also having smartphones where they follow football. Then they're able to play up to date as though they have been playing leagues around. We've seen players who have never been under any coach, have never been under any manager, came out, they are doing well. Teams came out, scouts came out, and they are picking quite a number of players. So the talents are good. And seeing these talents from across these 14 districts, we told ourselves that there is a good future for Nigerian people. All we need to do is to invest more into facility development, into player development, into leagues and tournaments, give them more playing time so they'll keep working their skills, keep getting more exposure. And then by the time they spring up, the state teams, the national teams will be filled with talents that will have room to even pick and leave more for others to pick.
Looking at those angles now as it stands, now how well are you saying we're getting support from the would I say that's the government in Jos and the sporting commission, the sports commissioner in Jos? How well are they supporting this grassroots development? Because you rightly mentioned about infrastructural development. How well are you say the fields are for these players to play?
Is an ethnicity cup. So the games have basically been in the ethnic groups' playgrounds. The playgrounds cut across all the ethnic groups in their villages. We've not gone to the government stadiums, but the government have given enabling environment. Without enabling environment, without peace and peaceful coexistence between each other, we wouldn't have room to play this. So they will say, well done to the traditional rulers from the Birom district. We call them the Dagomure. There are 14 traditional rulers heading the 14 districts. They have single-handedly sponsored their teams, transportation, refreshment, etc., home and away. Some even made jerseys, good jerseys, branded jerseys for their team. And these are traditional rulers, like we know, the district heads across Nigeria, but they paid their time, giving their time, use their resources to sponsor their district teams so they will represent them in the Nigeria and the Birom Nations Cup. So they are proud of it. But we call on more support. A lot of times when new things come out like this in Nigeria, people tend to sit back and see what happens before later they join. But I call upon people that dreams like this shouldn't die. The first time you see it, if you believe in it, jump into it and support it. But because BESDA, Birom Sports Development Association, is an NGO, a non-profit organization, so we had to go out of our way and sacrifice. There have been a lot of sacrifice from all our officials, the executives, and the main organizing committee, which is the MOC. We've had two, we can clearly say two people. There's a popular scout, the Coach Groves of Bukuru. He sent in his cash donation. We have the Honorable Chundun Kele. She also sent in her cash donation. So these are people that saw what was happening and they believe in the dream and they said, wow, let's give in no matter how small, let's give in what we can so we can encourage these young people. And I think we call upon everybody that the youths are important. When it has to do with the youth, come out and support the initiatives that will promote their holistic development. You don't just need them during politics for their votes. They should come in and support what has to do with their personal development. And I think that should be the way forward for Nigeria and then the youth.
You know, this is the first edition of Birom Nations Cup, and you focus more on football. Now, what's the plan for the future? Are they really looking into going into basketball, athleticism, and other sporting activities? Because we have cricket and a whole lot of activities coming up here in Nigeria. So, what's the plan for the future?
So, like you know, the Sports Development Association as an NGO has the objective of really going into various sports development. So what we did is, from the local environment here, we looked at what is the most feasible sport. We started with football. What is the next one? We are looking at doing marathon because they are raising the new crop of Kenyans here in Jos. There are a few districts that have outstanding long-distance runners, and we are working at to see possibly there could be track and field experts, talents out here. So we have a new department in BESDA that is called BESDA Athletics Department. So the experts there are looking at the marathon, the long-distance runners, the short-distance runners, and we're hoping to do just marathon soon. We're also hoping to go into volleyball. We're hoping that by the next year, we're hoping to go into volleyball. And we're hoping that we will develop facilities for basketball. And in the next 3 years, we should be able to go into basketball. Because basketball cannot be played without a concrete floor, without a lot of work on the floor. So that is a long-term goal, 3 years and beyond. And if you look at it very well, you see that our Bongom, which is the overall king in Birom land and in Jos, and the chairman of the Traditional Council of Plateau State, was a former NBBF president while he was Customs CG. So he was a basketball player in his time. He was the president of basketball in Nigeria. So we are sure that he will give his support to see that, yes, a basketball league or championship happens within his nationality, engaging the people in his domain.
I want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Geoffrey Boston, founder of Birom Nations Cup, for taking our time to join us on today's edition of Talk Sports. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Thank you.
So moving away from grassroots sporting development, now let's go back to the EPL, where Liverpool defeated Everton 1-0 with Diogo Jota's smart finish to see the Reds go 12 points clear. Good news for Liverpool is that this may be as hard as it gets. The only team wishing to deny them as badly as Everton between now and the end of the season will be Arsenal, and by that time they will visit Anfield on the 10th of May, this title race may be all but over. This was difficult for Liverpool. It was desperately difficult, emotionally tense, and occasionally pretty and petty. Everything that's a derby usually is, but at the same time, everything a team chasing only its second league title in 35 years doesn't need a game to be stopped. Deep into the injury time, at round about the time Everton and James Starkish got them at Goodison Park in mid-February, the nerves that had threatened to drill Liverpool in the first half were back, while they were giving the ball away needlessly and inviting pressure. So Liverpool edging up and defeating Everton 1-0 in London Derby is something that they have been looking forward to, and then this has kept them 12 points clear ahead of Arsenal. Arsenal have so much work to do, not just Arsenal. And later today, we've seen the standings that have changed. We have a standings that have changed in the EPL, where we've seen Liverpool edging and then leading the pack with 73 points, and then we have Arsenal following suit with 61 points, and all of this, it keeps the trajectory keep going like that. We still have Nottingham Forest, who are still sitting in the third place with their points, and also we've seen Liverpool, Manchester City coming up into the fourth place, Newcastle in the fifth position, and Chelsea in the sixth position. So all of this now has changed the standings of the EPL currently. So looking at the current standings now, we have Liverpool at 73 points, Arsenal with 61, Nottingham Forest 57, Manchester City with 51 points, Newcastle with 50 points, Chelsea with 49 points. Now looking at this standings now, currently from the way we're looking at it, it's looking as if Manchester City are cleared for Champions League. Newcastle also still in the race to see if they'll get it through to the Champions League. But as it stands now currently, Chelsea will be playing Tottenham later today at about 7:45 p.m. So if Chelsea get to win their match, they'll go straight back to the number 4th position, and then they'll leave them with 42 points. That's if they get to win. But if they don't win, maybe get a draw, they'll still remain at 6th or 5th position thereabout, and then they'll make it to Euros. So as it stands now currently, we'll be seeing level of changes like this on the Premier League log as matches are being played on a daily basis. Now we'll be having another game that we played today, and then tomorrow and all through the weekend we have lots of actions packed, and all of this so is going to transcend to packs and seeing how well the team is going to be. Ipswich, Leicester City and Southampton automatically are regulated, though Ipswich managed to win their game yesterday, and that has taken them to the still at the number 8 position with 20 points. So it doesn't still change anything. They will still be relegated back to the Championship. This is what it looks like currently on the EPL Premier League log. And then talking about Manchester City, who won their match yesterday, Greenwich scored to give Manchester City a boost in what is called the race to Champions League 2026. So we are looking at all of this, and then he attributed and then dedicated the goal to his late brother who died in the year 2000. And according to him, he said he was very happy to be able to score, given the fact that during this time of the year his family goes through a lot, and then he was able to score a goal while his both parents and siblings were watching. So congratulations to him on that feat. And also Brighton lost 3-0 as Marcus Rashford scores again. Just this past weekend we saw Marcus Rashford scoring, and again last night he scored again. That alone has given the loanee a boost to be able to getting back to his form that we used to know Marcus Rashford for. Aston Villa currently in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup and also still in the Champions League. So it's just very interesting how these guys are going. Kudos to Marcus Rashford. And looking at Ruben Amorim now, who is the head coach of Manchester United, we don't know, probably he might want Marcus Rashford back, but there is a clause that says Aston Villa can be able to decide to buy Rashford if that does work out. So looking at all of these feats now, it just boils down to Marcus Rashford if you want to go back to his boyhood club Manchester United, or would want to continue playing in Aston Villa. This is how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Talk Sports. My name is Samuel Odi. I want to say a very big thank you for all of you that tuned in today, and thank you for the entire production team for making today's production seamless. My name is Samuel Odi. I'll see you again as we talk more sports. Bye for now.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television